Nvidia stock is reporting earnings less than a week from now. And on today's episode, I want to take a closer look at what four analysts just recently shared about Nvidia, what they see about the overall market and expectations. Some might be bullish on the GB200, while others might not share the same enthusiasm. So let's take a closer look in today's episode. Too long, don't watch. I do believe Nvidia is going to beat expectations, and they're going to give us some great guidance now that the Blackwell platform is kind of in full ramp mode. So let's take a closer look. But first, make sure to check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose and check out my free daily semiconductor newsletter, whatthechip.com.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so let's start off with quick price action. Nvidia ended the day at $140. And my apologies for this video coming out a little bit later than usual. I wasn't going to drop a video today. I was a bit tired, but I needed to do this, right? I mean, we have we have few days before earnings, and I wanted to share as much insight as we can before the earnings report. So I hope you guys enjoy the episode. All right, so the first analyst we're going to take a closer look at is Baird, and we can see this one's pretty recent. They continue to maintain a buy rating on Nvidia, and they do have a price target of $195. All right, so the first thing that they overall mention is based on their latest supply chain checks, they are starting to see strong momentum for the GB200. Now, they expect the GB200 to be a good portion of this company's total revenue for the Blackwell market, especially in the second half of 2025 and into 2026. They mentioned that the initial delays were kind of affected mainly because of data center availability, such as space and electricity, rather than the lack of demand. And more importantly, there are some investors that might have been worried that because there was some form of delays and issues with the GB200, customers would push back and kind of just wait for the GB300 instead. But the GB300 is not really expected by their analysts until the second half of 2026. Now, they are kind of giving Nvidia stock a price multiple of 30 using Nvidia's fiscal year 2027 expectations, which is calendar year of 2026, and that is a price target of 195. They do note that this is higher than some of the other peers. As for some other players in this industry, they kind of give a multiple of 11 to 25. But because Nvidia is kind of a big bullish company and a leader in the AI market, they are willing to give it a 30x multiple. So a few things there. First, let's kind of talk about the GB200. So I think the GB200 is going to be an amazing product for Nvidia. We have heard that the GB200 is a powerhouse when it comes to AI inferencing and to AI training. So if you are a company that really wants to grow in the AI infrastructure market, the GB200 is going to create that best total cost of ownership for you. So I'm going to expect big customers like Amazon, like Google, like Microsoft to be big purchasers of this and to not want to wait out, because the GB200 versus the B200 or versus even the H100 is great improvements. Again, the GB200 is mainly niche for that AI heavy workload applications. And with Microsoft and ChatGPT and all their other AI solutions, and Google with kind of the Gemini and all their other AI solutions, I think they're going to be very big purchasers. And the GB200 is going to be one of NVIDIA's top product. And because it provides such awesome total cost of ownership, I don't believe any company is going to, because of delays, is going to wait out and get the GB300 instead. I think the GB200 just provides so much value that even if there was a bit of delays, and we saw some of the delay issues that this analyst kind of talked about, even with those delays, I think the GB200 is going to be amazing. Now, next we're going to see HSBC. HSBC actually is a little bit more on the conservative side. They did reduce their price target on Nvidia by $10. It was previously $185. Now they're dropping it to $175. Now, on a very top level approach, the main reason is the GB200. They expect kind of the GB200 to be a little bit weaker than previously expected because of the delays in forms of the assembly and supply chain. Luckily, though, they do expect that the counterbalance is, while you might not be getting the GB200, a lot of their customers are just buying the B200 GPU in the first half of fiscal year of 26, aka calendar year of 2025. Now, despite kind of the hurdles, this analyst does believe that Nvidia is going to meet and beat expectations for this quarter and the upcoming quarter as well. The only thing is they previously had most likely higher revenue gains, but because some of the weakness in the GB200, they kind of lowered those expectations a bit and changed their price target. Now, again, it does seem like the GB200 did seem some delays. I mean, we've heard it from some players. We've heard it from Supermicro. They did reduce their guidance because of it. Um, but I don't know how much of a delay there is. I mean, the GB200, I think, is amazing for the cloud providers. And I believe the cloud providers were the first ones to get these systems, not your companies like Supermicro and so on and so forth. A perfect example is yesterday we looked at Google, and Google is running the GB200 already when they did announce their A4X virtual machines. So it is already in preview. It means they've had these systems available to them a while ago. So it kind of gives me that evidence that while the GB200 might have not been sent to kind of your ODM providers, it was sent to your hyperscale providers right off the bat. So I still believe the demand for the GB200 is there. And if right before earnings, we start to get more fears about maybe GB200 delays, I think that could create buying opportunities. Right now, Nvidia is definitely not at a price point where I will be willing to buy. Luckily, I did a video when the stock was below $120 just a few weeks ago, and I call that a buying opportunity. Right now, for me, I would do more of a just chill and wait for an opportunity in forms of stock price or very, very small dollar cost average. Now, the third company analyst that came out was KeyBank. So KeyBank a few hours ago did raise their price target by $10. So they are the opposite of the last one we just saw. And KeyBank, they went from $180 to $190. For them, they do believe that Nvidia is going to exceed expectations, not only in revenue, but also the guidance, which they believe would be very, very overall bullish for the stock. Again, KeyBank does note challenges with the manufacturing constraints in the GB200, but expect the impact to be more compensated by several other factors. So the first thing is they do see some of those GB200 orders just being pushed onto the B200 at the moment. Not only that, another market that they see huge growth opportunity is China. So NVIDIA's H20 GPUs on their supply chain are actually doing a lot better in China. The main reason for that is DeepSeek seems to be buying a lot of the Chinese GPUs from Huawei, and that's creating kind of like it's creating this market where there's no supply of Huawei's AI chip. And because they already have low yield, they already have low volumes. Now it forces the other kind of Chinese players to say, hey, look, we can't wait for Huawei to restock with their AI chip. We're just going to actually place more orders on NVIDIA's H20. The other thing is obviously with the current administration and pressure on making sure maybe AI doesn't get to the wrong hands that we're seeing with this administration, and we're also saw with the previous administration. There might be fears of maybe the H20 being cut off, and maybe Chinese customers might be doing a lot of front end orders or trying to put as much orders as possible, trying to get ahead of any export restrictions that could be creating some nice bullish sentiment for NVIDIA's H20 and kind of Chinese chips. So that could actually be a nice revenue helper grower as you might start to get more pickup, as there might be fears of more export restriction laws. And also, like we saw with KeyBank analysis, that they believe the DeepSeek issue has created too much. They're kind of hoarding all the Huawei chips, which is forcing the other Chinese companies to kind of focus with Nvidia instead. The next one we have here is Oppenheimer. They maintain Nvidia outperform, and they maintain the price target at 175. So no real changes here. Overall, they pretty much mentioned that they anticipate positive performance in NVIDIA's fourth quarter and first quarter outlook for April. They also believe that the H200 is expected to be stronger than previously anticipated in the near term as the production of the Blackwell architectures starts to ramp up. Oppenheimer estimates that the H200 could account for 30% of NVIDIA's product mix this year. Additionally, the GB200 has been in full production since December. So actually, again, this is what I believe is another kind of growth opportunity for NVIDIA. So we're seeing the ramp up production of the Blackwell platform. I believe the GB200, like I discussed earlier, is getting sent out to those major hyperscalers. The B200 also has a huge market opportunity. We saw kind of that growth opportunity with the H20 in China. And I think the H200 is still a very, very strong product and it's going to continue to grow. So you have multiple tailwinds in different products from NVIDIA. Now, the final thing I want to take a closer look at is there was this post on X earlier today and kind of talks about the kind of the ASIC market, and there was a discussion from a former global director of AI products and strategy at Intel Corporations. And he pretty much discusses that, hey, look, he talks about NVIDIA and how NVIDIA has this amazing moat with CUDA. And every type of engineer and developer that's coming out of school right now is learning CUDA. So that already is creating a moat for NVIDIA that when they go to a workplace, they're most likely going to work on NVIDIA product. So it doesn't really matter if some of these ASIC solutions are cheaper. It's in forms of time value. Most of these developers are going to continue to use NVIDIA tools because that's where they know works for them. They know how to do those tools. And once you become very adjusted to a certain application, even if it might be more expensive, you're saving out on time. And that's what NVIDIA kind of talks about the total cost of ownership. It's not just about kind of the actual price of the chips, but it's the price of your developers, of the stress they might go through, of where they might see more innovations in the future. So ASICs, I still don't believe are a real threat for NVIDIA. Obviously, if you are a big company and you create an ASIC, you're going to force your engineers to learn and kind of port things over. So that's why we see Google actually doing such good things with the TPU, but we don't see too many external developers end up using the TPU because they don't know that from school. They know how to use CUDA. They know how to use NVIDIA. So this overall ASIC discussion versus NVIDIA, I just want to say it's not a fear for NVIDIA. And it's a market where both can win. I think NVIDIA is going to win the market share, and obviously ASIC players will benefit as the market while it grows. But at the end of the day, NVIDIA is going to remain king. So like I mentioned, at these values, I wouldn't purchase NVIDIA. I wouldn't sell the stock either. I'm a long-term investor. Maybe some might sell, as it seems like 140 is the top-ish if you look at technicals for some time. But with earnings coming up, and they announce some amazing things, I think this stock can definitely go to new levels. But the risk to reward ratio at 140 just isn't there for me. We saw opportunities of less than 120 a month ago, less than 2 months ago, we actually saw it, or less than 6 months ago, we actually saw it at 107. This is a stock that is great for those that have the patience to wait. So take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.